Hey, what's up, guys? Today on the podcast, I got my friend Barbero Caico, and we go deep into his life. We talk about health. We talk about his self-development, him going through foster care, just a whole bunch of personal development and his personal growth and his view on life. The podcast starts a little slow, and we build up into a lot of deep conversations. So if you're going to listen all the way through, and we both hope you guys enjoy it. All right, guys, and welcome back to another podcast. Today, I got my friend Barbero Caico. Barbero, how you doing today, man?
Doing great, dude. How are you?
I'm fucking fantastic. It's a beautiful day, huh?
Dude, it's freaking amazing today, man. It feels great out here.
May is nice,
nice
and it's
sun.
beautiful. We just hit a workout. It was amazing. Barbero's extremely strong. Barbero, why don't we start like that? Barbero, you got into the Czech Institute around 2010, which is 4 years before I got in, actually. So, like, you're 34 now.
Right.
So you must have been, how old are you?
Yeah. So I just turned 34 2 days ago. So, yeah, when I got involved in the Czech Institute, my first course I was 23. Before that, I started studying it at 22 when I did my year of nothing but yoga.
Yeah. Oh,
I
tight.
basically sweat off all my muscle in a year.
Yeah.
I was able to, like, wrap my leg around my head and all kinds of crazy shit.
Really?
Yeah, but it was whatever. You know, it was what it was. It was good. It was a good experience, and that's how I came to know about the Czech Institute.
Was through that yoga class?
Yeah, I had a good yoga teacher of mine, Ryan Bailey, and I really looked up to him at the time. And everything he did was just like I'd never seen before because I was just working out of the gym. You know, like
you saw like the standard like
lifts. I was
lifts.
just like doing whatever the machines, and I would do a little bit of free weights, but it wasn't much, man. Like I had no idea how much I did not know about lifting in general, just lifting, and I didn't even count nutrition yet. And then when I met him in yoga, like he just had all these cool yoga poses, and the classes were great. They were like a fitness yoga class, and I asked, and then I went to his training studio. He's like, "Oh, I do personal training too." And I just started. I took the NASM course, the personal training course. So I'd done that. So I thought I knew.
What's up?
I thought I knew what's up, yeah, right? So, and it's not that you don't know anything. You know some stuff enough to train doing that. And but I was like, oh, wow. So he was like, oh, I did this. And he showed me his Czech Institute lanyard. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I'll check it out. And then so that led me to Paul Chek videos. And I was like, whoa, this guy's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But this is the craziest shit I've ever heard about lifting and nutrition and everything. And I just dove in. And I was doing college classes at that time.
Yeah.
At a junior college. I'd slacked a couple years. I worked full time in a warehouse, and I did on and off junior college classes for 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
And then when I finally heard of the Czech Institute, I had one more. I decided to do nutrition. I was like, oh, I'm going to major in nutrition from San Diego State or wherever I wanted to move to.
Yeah.
So I started getting my classes prepared for that. That's chemistry labs and all this crap. And I was like, whoa, this sucks.
Yep.
And I was like, whoa, this sucks.
Yeah.
And so what happened was I read Paul Chek's book.
Yeah, How to Eat and Be Healthy.
And I was
Great
reading
book, by the way.
And I was reading that during the classes,
Mm-hmm.
During my freaking labs, which are hard if you don't study. They're hard if you do study.
You're reading
and
How to Eat, Move, Be Healthy.
And I was reading How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, and then I went on the metabolic typing diet right after that, and actually did my chemistry final report on metabolic typing. And
nice.
And the two professors looked at me like they had never heard what I was talking about before.
That's tight.
Which they hadn't.
Yeah.
Right? And
I actually had that issue too. Like I was reading that in college, and a lot of my projects would be based around like different things like that. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, I really threw them a curveball because everyone else was doing all kinds of normal scientific stuff that everybody already knows about.
Right.
And I was presenting all these new diets and like the Weston Price information.
Yeah. And
they were just like, whoa. And I remember one of the jokes from one of the professors was like, oh, so basically what you're saying is we brought them McDonald's and these people started getting sick. And I was like, pretty much. And everything else.
That sounds pretty standard.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound too shocking.
Yeah, so after that, that was my last semester of college. I tried to do the next level of chemistry, and I was like, you know what, this is just a waste of my time.
Yeah.
So I walked out of lab one day in the middle of lab. I just told the teacher I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go on and do something else.
And you're over it, yeah.
Yeah, I was over it. So I left that lab. I felt so good. I felt so heavy in the lab, and it was just something that didn't really align with me. I could just feel it,
Yeah.
And then when I went and I paid, the $3,000 or whatever it was to do the HLC1 and the Czech exercise coach at the time. And those two classes were like, wow. HLC1 wasn't so mind-blowing because I had already read a lot of stuff that aligned with Czech before then. I kind of like jumped the gun. But the exercise coach was crazy. Like
Really?
all
Yeah.
the assessments.
I love it. Yeah.
Right. All the assessments was crazy, and like just having Rob Yang, he was an instructor at the institute at the time, and buff Asian dude. He was just like picking me apart in different like lifts and stuff. And I was like, God damn, I don't know anything. You know?
Yeah.
And I was like really athletic and like known for being like fit and everything.
Yeah.
Out of all the people that I grew up with and just in my area, and so then I just went on from there, and I kept going.
Yeah.
To the institute, and I didn't complete the whole thing on the practitioner side just because I got to a point where I wasn't really coaching anymore, and I just kind of stopped. And I was like, okay, I got enough for now. But the HLC side, I did all of it.
Nice.
And that was great. And that's where I met Troy.
That's where you met Troy. That's how we met, right?
And that's how we connected.
Did I meet you in Sedona then? The first time.
The first time you met me was actually at the Music and Sky.
Oh yeah, great festival by the way.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you too. Like, are you like I've known you now for a while. Are you like spiritual in any type of way, or what are your beliefs on God and all that?
Yeah, I'm spiritual. I'm not spiritual in a sense like maybe where you would compare me to like all the New Age type people.
Sure.
You know, I do have a more New Age type of view on things. Just because at the end of the day, like, you know, you basically are God.
Yeah.
Right. And
Sorry,
that's pretty much how I feel. Like, I'm not saying I'm God to everybody, but I'm God to myself. And, you know, I run the show here. And as far as God, you know, beyond me goes, you know, that's like a collective thing to me. And that's up to us. Like, who are we giving our God energy to? You know, like the dark energy that's going to bring us down and keep us trapped, or a more enlightened and freeing and prosperity type of energy.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what God is to me. Like all the religious stuff, it has its own teachings and everything. I haven't studied all the religions in depth, but you know, I grew up in like a Catholic family and then got converted through foster care into a Christian family. And I was never happy sitting in those churches. I don't
think anybody is.
No.
Especially Catholic churches.
Right, yeah. And, you know, everyone can do whatever they want for religion. I'm not here to say who's right and wrong, but I just never really connected. I remember I would just sit there with my head down and just like, if I had a cell phone at the time, I would have definitely been using that cell phone. Yeah.
A lot of people do that. I just went to my little brother's, what is it called when you like confirmation? And like people were just on their phones and it's hard to hear. It made me a little sad, but yeah. So that I want to clear the part up when you said you are God to yourself, because it's like you have God in you.
Right.
Is that what you're trying to say? Like God is inside you and it's inside everybody?
Yeah, well, I like to think Carl Jung, the psychoanalyst Carl Jung, he has a quote that said something like, you know, the surest way to lose your soul, and this might not be exact, but is to believe in a source outside of yourself, right? So when you're overly worshiping something else as a god, like that takes away from you with yourself.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, there's like that. What's funny is like in my own like spiritual like I mean, we're all like sometimes we're seeking, but when you look inward, like it's there.
Right. Yeah,
You know
it's
what I
already
mean?
inside us.
Yeah.
It's already inside us. It really is.
That God essence, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of the world, you know, not to get too off topic here, but a lot of the world is designed to take you away from that. Because that's where your real power is.
Okay, dude, okay. So we can go a little off topic. I don't care. But like it was funny. I was talking to one of my clients actually, and he, you know, I kind of believe in the yin and yang. You know what I mean? Like there's like the flesh world. Like when you're like eating and like supporting your flesh, almost it's almost like the devil or like the yang. Whereas like when you fast and like you're becoming more spiritual and you're becoming more enlightened or whatever. And he said something that kind of tripped me out, that like the world of the physical, which is here right now, is like the world of the devil, basically, like of that, whereas we're here to try to overcome it. Is that kind of how you're feeling?
You know that.
I hope I said that correctly.
No. That sounds.
Because it's. I mean, with social media, bro.
Yeah, if you just look around, you know, most things are not made in your best interest, right?
Food.
It seems like you're always facing a constant battle of something.
Yeah.
And there's always somebody that's trying to steal your energy or your money or whatever. It's all energy in the end.
Yeah.
So, and you know, most stuff. I mean, I'll be real. Most stuff is weaponized to take you down and to keep you at a low vibration. So. I mean, I kind of agree with that guy a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know the full story, but yeah, like a lot of this world here, it can also be heaven, you know, depending on how you're living and who you're surrounded with and all that. But yeah, a lot of it is definitely dark.
Yeah. It can be.
It can be.
It can be dark.
Yeah. And it depends on where you're sending your intention and your energy to, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you're participating in, what you're supporting with dollars and your time and your eyeballs.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Why don't we get into that a little bit too? Because I know you personally, like, you kind of have looked behind the curtain maybe a little too far sometimes to seeing some things in the world that are, you know, not as pro-life. You know, you struggle with that in your past.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, when did I start this whole thing? At least 10 years ago. You know, right around the check time, I really started taking a deep dive. I remember I used to hear about conspiracy stuff in like 2007, and I just thought, like, whatever. I didn't care. I was just working out twice a day and working my $10, $11 an hour warehouse job and taking my junior college class, and I thought I was, you know, headed to the moon. So I didn't care. It took a couple things. It took waking up more with knowledge and just feeding my body better, you know, and working out differently. That also raised my consciousness as well. And then I started taking a deep dive down stuff. And, you know, some of it's bullshit, but a lot of it, you know, when you really look at and you study the corporations and the systems, it's like, wow, like this shit. I mean, the person saying the stuff might seem crazy, but if you really look at it in a non-crazy way, you start to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any specifics you want me to talk on, but because there's much different stuff, right?
No, I mean, just the overarching impact that had on your life, because I know, especially in my own world of, like, you know, me, like, figuring out life and, like, trying to see how things actually run, you know, I've run into, like, and again, I kind of hate that word, conspiratorial things, but, like, you know, there's some realities that are not, like, one that I have accepted, I told you earlier today, is, like, you know, if you want to survive in America, it's like you have to be industrious, you have to be a capitalist.
Right.
So, you know, and growing up, I feel like I was more of a, you know, especially with school, man, I feel like I almost was lied to in school. I mean, I was pretty much, like, you know, they want you to go to college, right? That was, like, the main goal was, like, go to college. Like, once you go to college, you're going to get a sick job. But they probably should have been teaching me how to be more liberal in the sense of, like, you make money, you don't earn money. Like, the earners kind of get, you know, fucked, whereas the money makers get the tax benefits, get those tax cuts. So I'm sure you've delved way deeper into that.
Yeah, I went through a stage, you know, and it was a couple years at least, where I just didn't want to participate and work for money, right? Yeah. And I just got so tired of it because the more you dig into the money and everything, it's just all a big game. And, you know, finally I came to a point where I was like, okay, screw it. Like, you know, I'm pretty damn depressed. Like, what's the point of really hanging around, right? Yeah. So I started having anxiety and all kinds of crazy shit. And
because of the stuff you were learning and how it was affecting
it was
you.
A mixture, yeah. And it wasn't because I was scared of that stuff. It was more so, like, knowing all that and still walking around and seeing it with your eyes right there. Yeah. Right. And then when you try to tell somebody to help them, they call you a crazy ass. Yeah. So it was kind of like you feel isolated in a way. Yeah. Right. And there are people that are awake and that know, but, like, when you're out there in cities and stuff, like in a job, like, there's not that many people. Yeah. That are awake right now. Yeah. There really isn't. There's more coming, but it's not a lot. Yeah. And if there are, they're still caving in to the system. And they're scared to, like, stand for what they actually are awake to, right? Right. So I just got depressed. I wanted to check out of capitalism and money, and I went a couple years where I wasn't earning anything. I was just living off savings. Yeah. I ran up my credit cards and.
Wow, really? Goddamn.
I ran them out. Yeah, I actually. It's not embarrassing because it's part of the journey. So what I did was I dusted all my credit cards up to I skyrocketed them all up to the limit. I cashed them, and I just used that money to live on. Damn. And I just.
Where was the rationale in that?
It was just like, screw it. Like, I looked into the credit card system and saw that it was all based on fraud and it's all fake money. So I was like, okay, screw it. Like, I have this now still. They could shut it off at any time. I'll use it. Right?
Damn.
So I used that.
And Did you fuck up your credit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that could be fixed. I'm not worried about credit. Okay. Yeah. Because, you know, when I buy stuff in the future, I want to buy it.
Yeah. Like, you don't want a loan.
I don't want a loan unless I absolutely need to do it. I don't want it.
Yeah.
I want to know that I earned it and I can hand it over,
Yeah, absolutely.
And so yeah, I did that, and then I just went, a couple years where I really earned nothing. Like it was like nothing, dude. And I just got used to not being attached to the money, like go.
Mm-hmm.
And the bills. Like I cut my bills down to almost nothing.
Yeah.
I would stay with my sister, for free, wherever I could. I'd live on the road.
Yeah.
And then finally, I was just like, okay, well, maybe I should start trying to earn a little money and see how it feels,
Yeah.
And so I did, I did that, and I joined Troy in the business, and I started earning a couple $100 here and there.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, like this couple $100 lasts me a while now. Whereas before that was, literally one trip to the farmer's market.
Yeah.
It was like $300.
Yeah.
And I learned how to live on so much less. It was great. And now, a couple $1,000 is like, wow, I could do a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not the same way about money. Now I'm just like, okay, I'll earn what I can earn, and I'm not attached to a certain number. Like if it's $1 million, great. I'll do something great with that money, and I'm okay. I'm accepting it now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was a lot different. Like back then, I didn't even want to train anybody. Like people would try to offer me something like to work for them. I was like, nah. Yeah. Like kind of like literally pushing away money.
Right.
Right. But then at the same time, at the end of the day, I was still a part of the system in a way. So I was like, okay, well, it's time to play it a little bit.
So learning about the system kind of fucked you up to not want to play, right?
Yeah, it made me not want to play.
I feel like that a lot.
Yeah, it really did. I was just like, wow, like this, like why can't I just go out in the woods and take some wood courses to survive? And
for someone who may not be like as savvy to some of those reasons, could you give like one good example that you're just like was a big turn off for you?
Yeah, just the, I really thought about it one day, and I was like, wow, like, all the money you get literally goes out to like barely survive if you really break it down. For most people that are alive, right now walking around working, it's like literally they're being paid, money for their energy and their life force that they're using in their job, and they're handing pretty much all of it over to barely survive. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you're just paying rent and you're eating cheap food and you're driving a car, like that's barely surviving. Yeah. And I get that that's a higher quality of life than, living in like the slums or something, or, in the swamps or wherever. But it's the same thing. It's just glorified, right? It's just kind of like it looks better on TV or like in person. It feels better. Yeah. But it's the same deal. And that just kind of got me. I was like, wow, I can't. It was just bad. Yeah. For me, mentally. No. For me, mentally, I was like, whoa.
I 100% feel you. One of my biggest things was that, like, I realized, like, learning psychology and health, like, we don't need that much to survive. Like, besides food, shelter, and, like, social, like, we don't need that much to survive. So when I used to work and, like, try to sell people things that I knew they didn't need, that kind of fucked me up a lot. And also, like, realizing that, like, being a consumer is glorified, kind of like how you said, like you're here. If you don't have this, you need the extra thing on top of that. If you got the shoes, you need that watch to go with the shoes. And the part that really fucked me up was that, like, on top of that consumerism, our livelihood is kind of like teetering on top of that. Because if, let's say, you're like, all right, fuck shoes, fuck watches, fuck cars, let's just live bare minimum. Oh shit, none of us have jobs anymore. Like, and then now you have crazy pandemia happening at that point,
Yeah. Yep.
That was a big one for me, at least.
Yeah, it seems like you've had similar thoughts to what I've had in the past.
Yeah.
Like what you were saying. It gets better.
Yeah.
It does. You just got to stick through it. I stuck through it.
Yeah. Well, my big realization was, like, if I ever want to have a family, like,
exactly.
I have to, like, list out the values that I'm willing to live by, and then figure out, through the grace of God, like, how I can commoditize those in the best way possible.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, money, it's all the energy behind the money that's, the evil stuff.
Yeah. It can be evil. Yeah.
Well, like, what was getting me was the evil parts.
Yeah, of course.
It could be used for good.
Yeah.
And now it's cool. Like, great. I'll use it for good stuff.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I don't have that trouble anymore, but I did for a
Yeah.
while, and it
And you were
sucked.
depressed for a while?
I was kind of depressed. Yeah, I mean, I was
Yeah.
still eating healthy. I was still exercising,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still looked healthy. I still did, Qigong every day.
Damn, I bet if you weren't fucking meditating and eating
Oh
healthy,
my God, I
you'd be
can
a
imagine.
fucking wrecking
Oh, it would have
ball.
been a wreck.
You
Yeah,
would've been a wrecking
I
ball.
used to tell my good friend Paul Skidmore all the time, like, most people would probably have killed themselves in my situation.
Damn,
at times.
really?
Well, yeah. I mean, the average person. I mean, I wasn't out dating.
Yeah.
I wasn't out having fun and getting doped up on drugs and
Yeah.
creating this whole false reality of happiness. I wasn't out doing anything really.
Yeah.
I was just doing what I do, and I was reading a lot of books and studying and keep my mind sharp still.
Yeah.
And I was being depressed.
Yeah.
So,
Fuck.
I don't know what it was that just drove me to do that, but it was just always searching for a higher level of truth and
Yeah.
knowledge and.
But
yeah,
you're good
that's
now.
what-
You okay?
I'm good now. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
God.
I'm a lot way different now. Yeah.
Thank God.
Right.
So,
So.
spirituality, how that got inside you. You went through some depression through, kind of looking at the system. So where are you now? Like, this podcast is, self-development, and we've touched a little bit parts of the health and spirituality. What type of things are you, after you've gone through some of those things, like, what are you looking for, like, now?
Well, now, I mean, ever since, this really started
What's your dream,
like
Barbero?
in October, November.
What's your dream?
Now it's just honestly to connect with as many people as I can.
Yeah? What do you
Really.
want to do before you die?
But I just want to connect with a lot of cool people. I mean,
Yeah.
really, and help people like grow and
What do you mean by
think,
connect?
Think differently and connect in a way that matters.
Okay.
Like a conversation like we're having here,
Yeah.
not about like what's going on TV or
Yeah.
something dumb.
Got you.
Just anything that can help help them progress
Yeah.
out of the system.
Mhm.
Even though you're really not out of the system, but still you're not so tied and just
Yeah.
kept down at that low vibration
Yeah.
that the system likes everyone to be in. Helping people out of that is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do that every day for free if I can.
I love that.
But I'll take money for it too.
Yes, sir. And we kind of
Right.
have to if we want to,
Right.
survive, dude. So you're very interesting because you kind of live bare minimum too. Like still, like even though you're making some money now, like you're still like just food, working out.
Right.
You're not treating crypto anymore. So what is your life like? I guess what I'm trying to say is like you're trying to leave a legacy, or what do you live by?
Now I have kind of a mission to, like I said earlier, just spread what at the moment I see to be the truth. Especially in the time that we're in now. So
Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to get that about you. Like,
yeah, it really is. There's no dollar value attached to like my legacy. I really don't care.
yeah.
I would like to have a family and a kingdom and all that. That'd be great,
Mhm.
right? And then I could help support the the systems that will help the planet or whatever it is that we're on,
Yeah.
and society and all that. That'd be cool. But overall, I really want to help, man, and get out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not in the superficial aspects of a lot of it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not really on social media and stuff like that.
Right.
I'll probably get on there soon more, but I've never really been into the superficial type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's so much stuff that I've done and I do that no one ever even knows.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And it's just like crazy because if it was all online, they'd be like, wow, this guy actually does a lot
Yeah.
for not working 8 to 5 every day
and
and having a family at 34,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have my own. And that'll probably maybe change at some point. I'm open to it.
You talked about being in foster care. Were
Yep.
how did that happen, or?
Yeah, I could give a quick story. You interested in that one?
Of course. Let's go.
Yeah. So, yeah. I was brought into this world by my mom and dad, and they were 31 years apart. So my dad had
31 years
yeah,
apart.
Yeah. So my dad had a whole other family before he met my mom.
Oh,
So I have
shit.
half siblings that are in their mid 60s
Whoa.
at this moment. 30 years older than me.
Siblings that are in their mid 60s.
Yeah, they're half. I mean, we're not close, but they're there.
Yeah,
And every
yeah.
now and then, there is a hello and all that. So yeah, we had a young mom, and basically, around when I was around 8, the CPS started getting involved, and
CPS.
yeah, that's Child Protective
Oh,
Services. Yeah,
okay.
it's the deceptive name for that agency. So basically, it was so weird. Like we all of a sudden had these workers coming by, and
Yeah.
it was in the 90s. The early 90s it started,
Yeah.
and early to mid 90s. And that was when they were really busy. They prey on weaker, I guess you could say weaker, more vulnerable type of parents, which my parents were.
What do you mean by prey?
As far as being able to take children away from them.
And you think that was like their main objective?
Yeah. Just let me continue the story.
Yeah. Go for it.
Because that is their main objective. That's what I mean. They're a corporation that specializes in that, so that is their main objective. And sometimes they do help kids, but I've seen a lot of kids not be helped.
Yeah.
And so when I was 10, finally, the family got split. I was the last one to go with my youngest brother, who was 6 weeks old at the time.
Oh wow.
And my other brother, who was like a year and a half or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like 2 years younger than me. And it was weird. Like all my other siblings, I have 7 siblings in my family. Well, 6 siblings. I'm one of the 7 kids.
Yeah.
They were all gone in foster homes, and they all
Wow.
went together in sets of 2, and I went by myself.
Fuck.
I was the only and I was kind of mentally strong
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it, but it was still weird.
Definitely.
And so I went out to a couple different foster homes, and
Yeah.
man, it was just so weird, like living with strangers.
No, definitely. Yeah.
And
How was that? Like, how many different foster homes were you in?
I was in 2, and so I was in one for like 2 weeks, but it felt like forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back with my mom for like a month, and then I went to another one for like a month, and then I went back with my dad for like 6 months or something. And he eventually ended up getting arrested, and my mom, she's a loving lady, but she's not capable of taking care of 7 kids.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, CPS knew this. It's an easy, like I said, it's an easy target. And so anyways, so we got taken one night. My 2 younger brothers went off. I went out to a city called Roseville over by Sacramento, California, where I'm from.
Yeah.
And I lived with this older lady. She was like 65. She was a grandma, but a cool grandma.
Nice.
And she was single. Her husband had died years earlier. She only had boys. She was like kind of like she really liked having boys. Like
Yeah.
She liked the guy energy. She would like take us bowling. She'd play pool, like watch sports.
Nice.
She was really cool. And I didn't really appreciate that coolness about her until I was like there for over a year. And I actually tried to get out of there, a couple times and sabotage it, just because I was like so like interested in going back with my dad and my mom.
Of course, yeah.
It's natural, yeah. So I ended up bonding with her pretty well, and what happened with that was she ended up getting cancer.
Wow.
After I was there for like 3 years or so. I think I stayed 4 years with her total.
Yeah.
And the last year, she had a bunch of pain, and she ended up having cancer.
Oh man.
And I remember she pulled me into the room one day, and she's like, "Yeah." She called me Bobby. She was like, "Bobby, like I'm going to be dying soon. Like you can go live with one of my daughters." All her daughters were all foster parents too.
Wow.
But I didn't really vibe as well,
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I'll think about that. So one of my best friends out in Roseville, who I was playing football with and stuff,
Yeah.
I told him that story one day, and he comes to school the next day, and he's like, "Hey, Bob," like they call me Bob. He's like, "Hey, like you can live. My mom said you could live with us." And I was like, "Whoa!" And that to me that was just like, wow, because it was like you get to go live with one of your best friends.
Yeah.
So it just seems like a party, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and the grandma did pass away a couple
Wow.
months later. She was in hospice, and I didn't know what I know now about cancer and all that, but yeah, she got taken by the system in that sense. And so I went with that family, and I hung around them for 7 years. I did high school sports there, did high school there, did football, bonded with them well, but it was never actually like a family connection.
Yeah.
With them. I always kind of felt like I was still a friend there, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was kind of like the agreement thing. And they treated me well. Like I had all my needs met. They paid for a lot of stuff, and it was fun. And then eventually, when I was 20, I moved out of that house, and within the next year, they basically banished me from that family.
Who did?
That foster family, one of my good friends.
Damn, they banished you?
Yeah, they just kind of they some stuff went down with a couple of the siblings,
Oh,
a couple of
okay.
their children.
Okay.
And there were some misunderstandings and stuff. And anyways, but there was just drama, and then they were like, "Okay, I don't want you to come here anymore." And then the connection just died off.
Damn, that's tough. How old are you?
So that I was 21 at that time.
Okay, so you're adult.
Yeah, I was an adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was already out on my own. Like
Okay.
I already knew how to live my own. Had my own apartment and everything at the time.
All right.
So I was cool, but it was really weird because I had a good connection with them.
Yeah, and it
then
just
their,
cut off like that?
Their family too. So that's right there. That's 3 different families that I got disconnected from.
Wow.
By the time I was 21. So I had like those abandonment type issues like that.
Yeah.
And then from there, I made new friends and stuff too. I made a lot of new friends through Czech, and some of my old friends I kept around from high school, and they kind of died off here. They're not died physically, but just kind of went and did their own thing.
Yeah.
And a couple I keep in touch with every now and then, but for the most part, I'm completely like cut off from everybody from like the high school days and all that, and that feels good actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it does. And whenever I do come in contact with those people from then, it's like, because I've done so much since then.
Yeah.
Like as far as elevating myself and knowledge and consciousness and everything, and if they're not at like a similar level,
yeah,
I almost feel like some of them are still stuck, kind of like in high school.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how to conversate with them.
Yeah.
Like if I were to go to a party with all them, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. I mean, you probably wouldn't go to a party, but
no, I probably wouldn't. But I was like, even back in 2016, 2017, I was with a lot of people from high school still.
Yeah.
They were getting married and stuff, and I didn't really know how to communicate with any of them.
Right.
It was weird. I just had to keep it at the low level,
Yeah.
And it was just so much different, man. But I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
And like that's one thing the one thing that did help me with the foster care system was not having a family that was trying to trap me in a certain belief system or a certain you need to get married and do this and that. You have to work full time. I know friends that have that, and that sounds like it sucks.
Yeah.
I never had that.
Yeah, I didn't have that either. That's pretty interesting.
That is one thing that I'm so happy about.
Yeah.
About
definitely.
not having the family that did that to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can completely relate. Like that conditioning, that strong conditioning.
Because I know a lot of people are trapped in that, man. It's because of their family.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
They're out there doing whatever. They won't speak up because it goes against what their family learned 50 years ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, so I'm glad I got to evolve out of that.
Dude, I am so lucky too because my parents weren't together. Like they had me, but they kind of went their own ways for whatever reasons, right? Mm-hmm. So I grew up with my mom and then my dad a little bit. But like my mom spent most of her time, working, trying to feed 3 kids, and my dad was living and he had his own family and stuff. So like I was just like, I'm cool with it at that age, you know what I mean? So I didn't get that conditioning either. So I'm like so grateful like you are to like not have like that pressing, like religion was a big one, like not getting pressed into that. Or not getting pressed into like you got to do this for school or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I know people that
it is a blessing.
Became a lawyer and a doctor, and they didn't even want to do it.
Dude, yeah, it's like a secret blessing not having like that.
I mean, that's a lot of work and a lot of money to pay to do something that you don't really want to do.
Yeah.
Just because somebody that brought you into this place told you to do it.
Right.
Or even if they didn't directly tell you, they kind of led you down that path.
Yeah.
And that's what I've loved about me is like I've literally pretty much I own what I've done. Like I've done what I've wanted. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, I feel that.
And I'm not happy about all of it, but for the most part I did what I wanted.
So foster care, you're still in, or like 21, was that it at that end?
Yeah. 21. I mean, that's when the shift happened into the check system, and that's the self-development went just through the roof at that point.
And then tell me, like when I asked you about like, child protective services, praying. And
right.
What did you see as a person inside the system?
Yes. So what I saw. So first of all, and I didn't know this at the time because I was 10, 8. It was a couple years of nonstop showing up at school, cornering kids in freaking rooms and asking
cornering.
Cornering. Like they basically corner, not without pushing you, but
okay. But they ask you.
You're
questions.
like this in a room, and this adult is asking you like, oh, how did you get this bruise on your hand or something? Like, like have you ever seen your dad do this? Mm. And you don't think that there's any bad intent in that, right? Yeah. Like I wasn't prepped for this. Right. So I'm just like, oh yeah, my dad, whipped me with a belt on my arm. Yeah. I didn't tell him why. Yeah. I didn't tell him that me and my brother were throwing rocks into the street. You know what I mean? Or trying to break somebody's window or something. Yeah. But as kids do. We did get hit here and there, like, yeah. And it worked, sometimes it didn't, but anyways. So like stuff like that, like they basically trap you into kind of ratting out your parents in a sense. Interesting. And then, I found out stuff later on, like, my sister was involved with, like, the court case with my dad, and she had all kinds of stuff, like, oh, you're going to go home if you say this on the stand. And oh, they said that? Yeah, they manipulated the shit out of them. And then my mom, too, they said, oh, you're going to get your kids back. You just have to divorce Mr. Caico. Yeah. So she divorced him, and then the kids never came back. And then he went to jail. So, Jesus, it's a crazy system, and they make a lot of money off of it. How? What? Yeah. The CPS, the system. How do they make money? Well, I mean, honestly, it goes kind of deep. They actually traffic a lot of kids out of the CPS system. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, that's not really a conversation for the show. Got it. Yeah. CPS is involved with trafficking, and Obviously, I wasn't trafficked in that sense, but in a way, it's all kind of trafficking because somebody's
Moving
profiting
yeah.
off of moving your human flesh. So that's the definition of trafficking, right? Moving some part of your body or your DNA is being moved with somebody else profiting, and not you. So that's human trafficking. So basically, that happened. That's what happens in CPS, and a lot of these foster kids, dude, you never see them again.
Yeah.
Like I when I lived with the grandma, there would be new guys in that thing every month. I was one that stuck around for 4 years. Not everybody did that.
Yeah.
Some people lasted a year maybe. They were gone. And these kids had all kinds of problems. Like
bro, they suffer the most.
They suffer a ton, man. They end up on drugs.
Yeah.
They end up on drugs. My brother is the perfect foster care specimen of that system, and he's in jail right now.
Yeah.
And he's only a year younger than me. He's a fucking great guy, but he's a victim of the system.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to break out. Maybe he will after he gets out of that situation. But yeah, like they started him on Adderall and these drugs when he was younger, and then that turned into cocaine when you're an adult.
Yeah.
And it just goes from there. You're used to living in poverty, so next thing you know, you're doing armed robberies and whatever else you need to do to make money.
Yeah.
And you end up in jail or dead or whatever.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I actually did a whole research paper. I guess it was a research paper in college about I was a psychology major, and I did it on foster care children, and they're the most for drug abuse, homelessness, crimes,
sexual stuff.
It just kind of sucks that they're and they are the most vulnerable. Being a child and then put into a system, moving home from home, psychologically the heaviness of that, and then you are basically left out to survive on your own.
You're on your own, man.
Yeah. And you went through that.
I went through that. And then they don't give a shit. Once they have these little systems when you turn 18, they kind of help you with $1,000 or something, and they help you with
$1,000.
Yeah, it's just really funny. It's they give you these little things, and they're like, oh, you could do this, and they help you get started with school and getting financial aid and all this shit. But really, you're on your own out there.
Really,
and you didn't, and obviously the school system, you didn't really get good training in.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have a good bond with a parent figure, it's you don't really know anything.
Yeah.
Maybe now it's different because kids can go on the internet and follow people that talk about good information. But back then you couldn't. You're just watching ESPN and whatever else, the movies.
Yeah.
So I consider myself really lucky and really blessed to be able to come out the way that I did from the system, for sure.
Damn, bro.
And I had good foster parents. I'm not saying that they were bad at all.
Yeah.
But
bro,
I still could have easily fucked it up.
Yeah, no, it sounded
No
like
doubt.
you wanted to get out and see your family,
Yeah, that was always what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And and to go back to my dad, he was in jail for 7 or 8 years.
Damn.
This guy was 70 years old in there.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And
it didn't even have to do with anything that crazy. It had to do with some money stuff. But the whole point was he was the strong point of the family, and if you could get rid of that guy, you just take everyone else out, right?
Jesus.
And my mom, bless her, but she's nothing compared to that. She'll just do kind of what she's told.
Damn.
And so he was in prison, and then my goal is to be able to catch up with him when he got out. And I graduated high school, so I did meet up with him, and he was around for a couple more years, and he ended up passing away. But
damn,
it was that was right before Czech when he actually
passed away.
Yeah, I mean, he was essentially murdered in a way in an ICU, but
damn,
I mean, it was years of abuse. He was in the classical medical system, so they gave him the statin drug. He had 20 pills to take
in jail,
just for years.
In jail.
While he was in jail too, and before he went, because he had a heart attack when he was 55 or something.
Do jails pay for inmates to have their pills, or how does that work?
I think it still goes through whatever Medi-Cal they had. My dad had a Medi-Cal thing, and he was a veteran, so he had it paid through that. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
they messed with him in there too, and so yeah, he was a product of the medical system.
Yeah,
is what it is. He had a defibrillator. He had a massive amount of drugs.
Yeah.
He didn't really know much about nutrition.
Yeah.
By the time you're that old, it doesn't matter. It's you just want to do what you do. And and it eventually led to an ICU unit.
Yeah.
And those are, the kill units, basically. You're there until they let everyone come say goodbye, and you're basically gone. I mean, not many people survive the ICU. So, especially when you're 70 plus years old, they put a breathing tube on you, and that's pretty much the finishing blow. So I experienced that. I was there when he died. Some of us were. And I walked out of that room and I was like, this was before I had any check courses, but I already do health information.
Yeah.
And I had already started kind of waking up to the system. Nothing like now, obviously, this is 10 years later, and I was just like, that's fucking crazy. Like, I got to make sure this doesn't happen to anybody in my family again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless they want it to happen.
Right.
Like, if I'm telling you stuff and you want to do something else, that's cool.
Yeah.
But not just because of ignorance,
Yeah, yeah.
And I just went off the fucking Richter, man. That's when I started studying like crazy.
Yeah.
I just never stopped, really. I'm always listening to stuff still, and I probably forget more. I mean, I forget a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it comes back. It's so weird because everything's just kind of floating around.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's the time to access it, it's somehow there.
Yeah.
Or if like you or somebody else brings something up, I would have never thought about that, but I read it like 5 years ago or 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Or I listened to it. And it's just in the system.
Who was like? There had to be a person who like maybe took you under their wing or like showed you like, hey man, like check out, this book, or like kind of got you into like wanting to. Would you say self-development is like waking up, or like who is that guy to like kind of wake you up or get you into something more productive?
Right. Yeah, that started in about 2009. A lot of it was that yoga teacher.
Wow.
My friend Ryan Bailey. Yeah, I don't talk to him anymore.
Oh shit.
But
really?
maybe I'll reach out eventually to him. He's a good guy. He runs his own yoga studio now. Yeah, he was a pretty good mentor to me for a bit. He was really big into Czech.
Yeah.
He didn't even do that high of the courses, but he just knew a lot of stuff that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And he was older. He was like my age now then,
Mm-hmm.
And I really just took what he said, and I went and, once I met Paul Chek and saw him and got involved with his stuff, I was like, boom.
Yeah, you're in.
Paul Chek kind of hypnotized me in a sense to just,
Yeah,
like he does everybody, right?
Yeah.
So I got pretty much hypnotized by Chek to just keep fucking studying.
Yeah.
And just keep on the course and, not trust the mainstream of anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's very awake, which is cool. Like, what I really like about Paul is like he puts in the work. It's not woo-woo bullshit. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to his library or...
I've never been to his house.
No, you've never been to his house. Bro,
That'd be cool.
Dude, his library is fucking huge.
Yeah.
And then he always has like this stack of books. He's like, yeah, I'm reading on this subject right now. And it's like 5, 7, 8 different books. And I'm just like, geez,
yeah, I've
bro.
done similar to that too. I remember what really got me into audio listening, because that's what I do all the time, like all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And it was Paul Chek. He would be like, oh yeah, I listen to this lecture while I lift weights, and I was like, I'm gonna start trying this.
Yeah.
And dude, at first when I started listening to books,
Yeah.
and
Changes your life.
lectures,
Yeah.
it was hard at first though. I was like,
Oh, really?
Why am I doing
Interesting.
this? It's
Okay.
just kind of boring, and I literally had to force myself to do it. It's kind of like sleeping on your back.
Got it.
You have to kind of force yourself to do it.
Right.
And now I'm good at sleeping on my back, but I didn't used to be when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I just trained it in the system, and now I listen at faster speeds. It just your skill evolves, and that was from him.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's from him, and then a lot of the people that I'm closest to now are from that institute.
Yeah.
Right, or from somebody connected that I met through that institute. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely grateful I made that choice to do that instead of college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I did college, I don't know, who knows, maybe I'd be lining up for a shot right now or something.
Fuck, bro. The system. Oh man, I don't know. Just get into that shit. But that's great, bro. I'm glad. I mean, it seems like you went through a lot, just like going in through foster care, and you're a prime, dude. Such a prime candidate to just have your life destroyed, man.
Yeah.
And look at you, man, all buff, big ass legs. You just did a split squat with 205 on your back.
That was 225.
Oh, 225.
Yeah, but I've done over 300 on those.
On the split squats?
Yeah, I'm getting back into it.
God damn.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, and my legs aren't very long, so I have a little advantage there too. But
yeah.
It's hard. It doesn't matter how tall you are. The shit's hard, regardless.
You started lifting when?
I started lifting when I was about 12 or 13. Me and my good friend used to go to a gym, and obviously it was nothing like now, right? We'd bench press and do shit.
Yeah.
I really started picking it up at 18.
Yeah.
And I just went at it, dude, twice a day before work, after work. And it was, it was kind of crappy lifts, but it was still building the habit of being into fitness.
Right.
So it still meant something. And I at one time also had like 10 different protein flavors and a shitload of protein bars of all kinds. Like,
yeah. The classic fucking.
yeah, all the whey proteins and all that
got
stuff.
Flex magazine, Muscle
And I did that for
Fitness.
like a year and a half. And then as soon as I started dropping that was around the time, I actually dropped that before I even knew who the Czech Institute and all that was. It was weird.
Interesting.
It was such a shift. And I was like, okay, I'm going to yoga now.
Dope.
Because so many people were like, the fitness system just, I was like, I was bored,
Yeah.
So I went and did yoga, and it was so great. Do all the stretches and everything, and hop into the splits and everything like that. That's when I met Ryan, and then kind of took off from there.
That's dope. 13, 14 years old lifting.
Yeah, and then as soon as 18 hit, I went there. I had about 22 to 23 was nothing but basically yoga, dude. I would do 2-3 classes a day, asana yoga, so just physical beatdown, hot yoga, and vinyasa flow.
Nice.
But in a humid room, it was like 80 degrees.
Damn.
Dude, I sweated down a lot. I got kind of thin. I lost some of the muscle mass, which was cool. I mean, I felt great. I was flexible. I thought it was all cool. And then I'm still flexible, but just not that flexible.
Yeah.
And then, once I started doing Czech again, okay, I was like, yeah, I need to get back in the gym.
Yeah.
I know all this shit now. I'm gonna start doing it.
Nice.
So I went and started doing it all, and now it's just freaking. I can do it blindfolded.
Tight.
Yeah,
that's
It
awesome.
just becomes a habit.
Yeah.
So and then I've been lifting regularly since then, except for like the last year until recently.
Oh, tell the people about your diet, bro, because you're the biggest fat eater I've ever seen in my fucking life, dude. One time I walked into Barbero making a fucking steak with like 2 sticks of butter on the side.
Right.
Okay, because a lot of people, the cholesterol and the,
Yeah. So that was hard for me to eat at first. Not eat, but like, grass in my head, about all the fat being healthy for you before I studied Czech and all that. And once I started adding it, I was like, wow, I feel way better.
Yeah.
Like I had way more mental capabilities. I had way more concentration. I had way more just brain fuel.
Yeah.
Instead of like getting tired quicker, and my body felt great. And I was tripping out because they always told me that my dad had a bad heart because of cholesterol.
Yeah.
And that's what they told him, and they scammed him. And it costed him his whole life until the end too. But that's the time. And dude, once I started doing that, like I noticed muscle gains. I noticed I stayed leaner.
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
It was with more.
It was so
fucking
crazy.
fat.
Yeah. And I still do that. I don't do it as much because I eat less food now than I used to. But I mean, I would have a steak. Dude, I would have like a 6-8 ounce steak.
Mm-hmm.
Salad, vegetables, like probably a quarter pound of raw cheese.
Bro, I've seen you eat cheese,
Sliced.
butter, steak.
Aged cheese, a 3-year. Oh, it's so good. Sour cheddar cheese. And then I would have butter as well.
Yeah,
like
dude,
about
so
maybe
much.
3 to 4 ounces of butter.
Yeah.
Half a Kerrygold
Yeah.
block. Boom. I'd slice it up. I'd throw it on there like it's nothing, like it's salt,
Yeah.
and it just melts right in.
Yeah.
And I'm good.
Yeah.
And I don't have to eat for freaking 7 hours after that.
Yeah. You're fucking set.
And that's what I like.
That's awesome.
And I don't always eat that high of fat, but I do. When I do it, I love it.
Yeah.
It is great. And
That's awesome, dude.
yeah, and I used to trip at first, but I studied all the cholesterol stuff and all the fat myths, and now that information is a lot more known than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago when I first started studying it, everyone still thought it was crazy to eat high fat.
Yeah.
And now it's like the cool thing to do.
Oh, fucking keto. Yeah.
But I mean, there's also traps with that now because a
Yeah.
lot of the fat's really low quality.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people aren't used to eating fat, so they're overloading the gallbladder, all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
They don't tell you those details.
Yeah.
They just throw you onto some new diet after they threw you on a different one.
This is why you guys need a trainer to help you, guide you into new diets and new exercises.
Definitely
I
helps.
think that's very important.
Yeah, it helps if you're not, pretty knowledgeable about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with hiring somebody.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I don't know shit about cars.
Hang on, fix this.
I always get somebody to help me with that.
Yeah.
Computers, whatever. Like, if I don't know it, I don't know it. It's cool.
Yeah.
I like sticking to stuff that I like to look into. And
Definitely. Okay, I'm going to ask you a hard question.
Okay.
Okay, so a hard question here. Love. Have you been in love? You're single right now. You've been single for a while, I think you said. Now, have you... what has it been with... You're straight, right?
And by love, do you mean like romantic love?
Romantic love, bro. Have you been in love? Has there been blockages to that because
there
of
has
your
been
past?
blockages because of my past.
Okay,
Absolutely.
there we go.
I had a lot of abandonment issues. I was always scared to get too involved.
Yeah,
romantically because there's that there was that deep instilled fear that, I'm going to be switching to a new girl.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And yeah, I am straight, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think I answered that question. Yeah, there was always that fear, like, this girl can just leave any second.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do.
Yeah.
Like, I see a lot of it happen to everyone.
Yeah.
And that to me is like a crushing blow because I already, went through that 3 times as a child, and growing up with family.
Yeah.
3 different families that I actually bonded with. My first being my real family, and then, the 2 after, the foster family and the grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, wow. Like, so I actually have never actually had a full-blown, like, relationship with a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, as far as a label goes, I've been romantically involved. And
or romantically involved.
And
That sounds like a fucking lawyer's note.
yeah, I mean, it's all terminology, right?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I've been involved romantically, and it's great. Like,
Yeah.
there's been people I've wanted to, take it to the next level with and stuff, but ended up not working out.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm open to whatever. I mean, I'm open to it. I'm not, like, seeking it every day.
Sure.
But, yeah, I mean, I'm sure eventually it'll go down.
And this is a hard question just because I know, when someone has the background that you do when it comes to family, like even for me, like I had certain issues and like I had to overcome them. They come out tenfold when you have a significant one other. All the past trauma comes up, all the insecurities that you didn't even know were there come up.
Yeah.
And, so that's why I really wanted to ask you, on this subject.
Yeah. Well, my big thing has always been, like, really opening up, especially with, like, a girl.
Yeah.
Right? It was always that. And I felt bad after because I would always when it was over, when I was gone, I would always feel like I never really gave that, that other person anything of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they still got a lot.
Yeah.
But I just felt like I didn't really give much. You know what I'm saying?
Because you were closed off.
Because I was kind of closed off.
Because you were scared to, if I invest and my investment goes down and bad, I hurt and I lose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're trading, stocks or crypto and you're sitting there and, like, you see a good opportunity.
Yeah.
But you're scared, so you only put in $5. And that thing goes to the moon. You're like, why didn't I fucking just put in that $5,000?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you held back and then you missed the opportunity.
Yeah.
So that's just a little cheap example, but
no, definitely not. It works.
Yeah. It's relatable in a way.
Yeah,
so,
dude.
But yeah, as far as so that's been my story with the romantic love. Like, I didn't date in high school. Everyone thought I was gay or something. They're like, dude, what are you doing? Everyone else is like getting drunk and like having girlfriends and trying to have sex at the dances and shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was still dancing.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't doing all that.
Yeah.
So I didn't have sex until later on.
Yeah.
Mid-20s.
Mid-20s, holy fuck.
Yeah. I finally dived in. But hey, I'll tell you what, it was worth it.
Yeah.
Because I actually studied sex before.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yep. And did all the Taoist stuff with myself. With myself.
Yeah.
So
You're a savage.
Who I had sex with didn't know that was my first time having sex.
Yeah.
She didn't know.
Yeah.
She was like, whoa. And I didn't tell her till, way later on, but she just thought, yeah, like, wow, like, that's kind of crazy. But it just, what was funny about it was like natural, man.
Yeah.
Like, I know if I would have started that at 16, like, it would have been really fucking awkward.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I would have done. Like,
Yeah.
It might have ruined my sexual experience to go later and cause trauma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people have a lot of sexual trauma. So, and a lot of it's because they have sex too young.
Yeah.
Or maybe not even too young numerically, just too young, in their evolution. Like, they're having it too soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, because sex is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
And it can go both ways.
Yeah.
So, and I've always kind of guarded that sexual energy.
Yeah.
Like, as far as sharing it goes. So, and I've gotten lucky too. Like, I've been turned down a lot. And I think that's me being protected.
Nice. Okay.
Like,
interesting.
Well, yeah, like I'll try to talk to a hot chick and she'll just blow me off. Not in person, but on the internet. Everyone's easy to blow off, right?
Yeah, super.
And I don't look cool on the internet. So, and unless you don't really know me, you just think I'm some boring guy. So they're just like, whatever. Like, yeah, he's got a good body, but he's not driving, the Lambo, or he's not going out and partying and popping the ecstasy or going to the raves. I don't know who this guy is. I can't spy on his Instagram.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It could be any reason, right?
For sure.
But yeah, I've gotten blown off a lot, and I've always looked back and I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I got blown off on that one.
Yeah. And
then I've had a lot of cases where I've hung out with girls that I was attracted to physically, and I was like,
it wasn't it.
I'm not going to have sex with a girl.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So I just, I'd be friends. I've hung out with so many and just been friends. It's great. I actually like that a lot.
Yeah.
It's really great. 'Cause
Yeah,
like,
getting
and a
involved.
lot of them are so used to every guy trying to fuck them.
Yeah.
You know, when they hang out. So
I think it's a lot more mature and smarter to feel it out and then then see what's actually there. If it's just a friendship, it's just a friendship.
I mean, if your intentions going in are both of you to just have a good time and bounce, cool.
Yeah. That's how I used to be a lot. I
That's
used to be
great.
like, yo, these are my intentions. Blah blah blah. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for whatever I want. But
Yeah.
now
Yep.
growing up, like I kind of see like, you know what? I could just kind of let this person open up. Okay, I like them. Let's hang out again.
Right.
We're not.
And if it's not meant to work, the other person will drift off.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
Mm.
Even if you're putting in the effort, which I've done, the other person will drift off.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, well, guess it's not
Interesting.
really worth it that much.
At all.
I'll back off a bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Okay.
yeah, that's a good question. Any other questions about that?
No, but I want to ask you
Okay.
psychedelics.
Oh, yeah, so psychedelics. So I went with Troy. Met Troy Casey in Czech. And level 3 HLC.
Okay.
The big thing was, in HLC 3, Paul, I don't know if he does anymore, but he used to, go around the whole room and ask you the question, like, hey, what is one thing in your life, if you can change, would really make your life better?
Okay.
Right? And then mine was just something about, just being overly selfish and not being open and just not really doing much.
Yeah.
Kind of just not really getting out, not really sharing information that I was taking in the courses. And, Paul gave me a big lecture. I don't remember all of it, but it was good. And then basically, Troy was like, a road to the side.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'll take you to the Amazon with me, bro. And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. So Paul's like, all right, perfect. So he brings me up in the middle of the fucking room in front of everyone. He tells everyone, it's probably like 35 people in the class, maybe 30. Everyone goes in the back. And Angie was in there too, by the way.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, it was a pretty good class. Like that group was solid. A lot of smart people in there.
Sweet.
So they were all in that class. They all went to the back, and Paul's had me stand on the front. He had every single person one by one
Oh my God.
come up, and I had to basically say, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the Amazon with the Health Nut. I'm gonna have a great time. I'd like to ask you for your support." So I had to basically go on the record saying I'm doing this
Oh.
as like a life-changing thing. Was the point of this, right?
Yeah.
And that I had support from others because I also felt like I was never supported,
Oh, okay.
and that was one of the things I brought up in there. So yeah, I did that, and then I didn't know that going to the Amazon with Troy meant psychedelics.
Oh, you didn't know?
No. So
Have you done
we
anything
booked
before then?
No, just weed when I was younger.
Yeah.
And
how
I
was
drank
that?
alcohol in high school, but it
Yeah.
sucked.
How was weed for you?
Weed was dumb.
Yeah, you didn't like it.
I mean, I just coughed, and I had anxiety for a little bit. I never really liked weed, man. So,
Yeah, no,
anyways,
for sure. Yeah,
So, anyways, so we ordered the tickets. I spent like $2,000
Damn.
before the course was over on these tickets to fly to freaking.
You spent the money out at the course?
Yeah, because Troy was
Oh,
like, let's just get it in motion now, bro. We'll go there in a month. He was like really pumping me up on this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh, it's awesome, dude. I'll go to the Amazon and check it out. I didn't travel. I'm not really a traveler.
For
so
sure.
This was big.
Yeah, it was
to me
big
for
for
me
you.
to get out.
Yeah.
And I like Troy, so I was like, okay, cool, I'll try it out. And then I remember like maybe a couple days before we're leaving,
Yeah.
Troy goes, oh yeah, bro, and we talked on the phone. He's like, you ready, man? I was like, yeah, dude, it's gonna be sick. What are we gonna be doing out there? He's like, oh yeah, dude. So when you take some of the medicine, like you're just gonna have this, when you do ceremony and all this stuff. And I was like, whoa, wait. What do you mean by medicine? Because I was already freaked out about doing any drugs or anything. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, bro, ayahuasca. This is ayahuasca retreat place. People come here to heal.
Yeah.
It does a lot for you, your consciousness and everything else. And I was like, by then I hadn't really studied that much, so I was like, okay, I'll try it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that's what I was doing.
That you were doing ayahuasca?
But by then I was fully in.
What year were you in? I mean, how old were you?
I was 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And ayahuasca was just getting popular here.
Got it.
It was
Yeah.
just kind of blowing up.
Yeah.
Now it's off the charts.
Yeah, that's-
Everybody does ayahuasca now.
So that was 10 years ago, so it was like 2010, right?
It was 2012.
2012, okay.
Yeah, it was 2012. And so we went to the Amazon.
Yeah.
And it was actually really nice. I kind of, I didn't really appreciate it at the time, but the ayahuasca part, man, I did it. I was scared shitless. First night of ceremony, I was like,
Shut
fuck,
up,
dude, I got to
bro.
drink this thing. I don't know what's going to happen. Everyone's like, oh, I died in my ayahuasca trip last night. And I'm like, what?
You're about to do this?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, dude, I'm
Shit
always
bricks.
like sober.
Yeah.
Right? And the highest I get is like during meditation or something. So I went in there and I didn't feel too much the first time.
Okay.
And
Were you
I was like,
resistant?
I took a little less.
You're like,
I played it safe.
of course, as you should, as anyone should.
Yeah, as anyone should. And Troy made fun of me for that in the ice bath. Remember at Music and Sky? I don't know if you were there.
Okay.
But he was making fun of me about that. So I went to the next day. I did 6 ceremonies in 10 days. So
Sheesh.
this was wild. And then the next time, Troy was like pumping me up. Troy was like, yeah, bro, like, dude, this is going to change your life, dude. Just take a little bit bigger dose, like this and that. You're going to love it, and all this shit. And then, like, Troy wasn't actually in the first ceremony, but the second one he was. And I just remember, like, I didn't feel much again, but I was slowly being kind of opened up. And the person that had the biggest healing experience in that particular ceremony was actually Troy.
Really?
Yeah, he
Whoa.
was puking his brains out, crying like crazy. It was a big, but he was like pumping me up. It was just the funniest thing.
Yeah,
'Cause he was like pumping me up as the one that's getting the healing, and like, yeah, bro, you're gonna get this healing. And, like,
And then he's the one.
and he's the one that got the, like, I felt anyways that was
Yeah.
visible, you know,
Yeah.
was him. I'm sure other people had a good experience too, but. And then the third time I took a bigger dose, like almost a full cup, and I was like, whoa, like I felt like I was being wrapped up, like with vines and everything. Like laying there, I just
Whoa.
felt my whole body kind of like.
Put the mic closer.
I just felt the medicine just taking kind of control, and I was just laying there, and I was like, fuck, what's going on? So I'd open my eyes, and everything was still there.
Okay, good.
So I was like, okay, cool, I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'd go like this, I'd move myself. I was like, whatever, I'll just let it go. And it was basically just a lot of colors and shapes, and as far as visuals go, and just feeling sensations in the body that was really weird. You know, and I had a lot of I puked that time. I puked that time, but that was the only time after the ceremony. I had diarrhea pretty frequently throughout that trip from the ayahuasca. And then, you know, I didn't have crazy trips. After that, I went to like a half to a 3/4 cup for the last couple ceremonies, and they were good. I mean, I got what I needed out of it, because when I turned from that trip, you know, I felt like my studying ability was like through the roof.
Really?
Yeah, and it's been like that ever since. And when I learn new information, it just sticks really easy.
Interesting.
And I'm not blown away. Like, I used to be blown away by stuff. And now people say stuff, and even if it is like brand new, I just already felt like I knew it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but it was just so weird. And I just remember I was able to memorize stuff so much better, and just remember like what I was hearing and what I was studying, and like I would go and like remember exactly where I was when I listened to a particular sentence of a book or something.
Yeah.
You know, crazy shit like that. And I still do that.
Yeah.
It's weird. So there was that, and then, I mean, yeah, you know, I got a little bit more open after the Amazon, but I was
Okay.
still kind of, you know, I went
off.
back into my shell for a while,
Yeah.
you know, too. That's the only psychedelic I've done.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Straight to ayahuasca.
Yeah, well, I mean, Troy gave me a couple drops of the LSD, but it didn't do much.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I do meditate a ton, and I have for years with Qigong and everything, so
Yeah.
I already have kind of like a pretty grounded, you know, type of consciousness and all
Yeah.
that. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because some people will take that stuff and it's like they're on a different planet or something.
Well,
You
I
know?
think you may have been a little conservative.
Oh, I was conservative for sure, but you don't want to go big on those doses.
No,
Because I
for
saw this
sure.
kid running for his life in the jungle. And then my buddy Will, you know, this big Australian guy, he was like boxing the air. It was demons coming after him.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you tell me you want one of those experiences on ayahuasca?
Yeah.
In the Amazon, thousands
Yeah.
of miles away from everyone?
No, yeah.
A 3-hour boat ride away from a city?
Yeah. No.
No internet?
Yeah.
No nothing?
No phone.
No, I didn't. and I got enough, and that was it. So ayahuasca I probably won't ever do again, but
Yeah.
the only thing, the LSD drops were nothing, and that's it. I mean, I've done Kambo. I did a Kambo ceremony with Troy last year. That was good. That was actually a pretty cleansing ceremony.
Okay, how was that?
That's not a psychedelic, though. It's like more of a poison medicine that kind of cleans out the system, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good experience. It's a good experience. My mark's right here on my foot.
Oh,
Still.
you did it on the foot?
Yeah, I did it on the foot. I didn't want the scars to be like showing everywhere.
Bro, low-key, they're kind of cool as fuck.
Yeah. I like you see people have them all over their bodies, like the people that are in the Kambo.
Yeah.
But I didn't really want my showing because I've always wanted to keep no tattoos, no nothing on my skin.
Yeah.
And I like showing off, you know, a tan and
Yeah,
clean
because you're
skin.
Italian. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, and clean skin from, you know, eating healthy and
Yeah.
doing the right things and being lucky enough to not be in any accidents to where that's, you know, gone away.
Yeah.
So I like all that. Yeah, the Kambo thing was great. It was a lot of puking, and I had to force myself to puke. I don't really puke. I have a weird body. I've always kind of been that way where I don't really throw up.
Yeah.
So I literally had to, you know, give myself the double finger. And I had to go the double finger on that one. I was in there with Troy and Curtis and a couple other guys.
Oh, that's tight.
But it was cool. It was just got a small group.
Sedona?
Yeah,
Nice.
with Sham. We were at Sham's place.
Oh, sweet.
And it was cool. I was kind of scared actually, because I've heard people have been in like crazy pain, and like you get some people's faces swell up like a freaking frog and all this kind
Yeah.
of stuff. And I didn't have the swelling, but I did feel like the body going through some shit.
Yeah.
But that was cool. And then that's it. I don't
Yeah.
smoke. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
Drink. Nothing.
That's dope. I've been sober for 5 weeks now, so it's been.
It's good, right?
It's different. I've started to notice more, less than like, oh, my body feels different. It's just like, oh, you know what? I don't want to go out and do that. I kind of want to focus on different things.
Right. You know what I always say, that the drugs that I do the most of is obviously sugar every now and then. And
Caffeine, you motherfucker.
well, caffeine when I eat chocolate.
Okay.
That's
like
it.
fucking nothing.
That's the only time I ever eat caffeine.
Yeah.
Because I don't drink caffeinated teas, and I don't drink coffee, and I never have,
Yeah.
and I won't. And that's it. I get caffeine as a drug from chocolate,
Yeah.
and I get sugar, and that's
Yeah.
it for as far as drugs go.
Yeah.
Because those are drugs.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them just powered by food and freaking music and sunlight. I get out naked in the sun all the time. I lay out.
Yeah.
I feel energized after that. It feels good.
I love it, man. That's awesome. Clean.
Yeah, it's as clean as can be.
Yeah.
Right.
And for those watching, sober from alcohol, like I'm not a crazy drug addict or anything. That sounded horrible. I've been sober for 5.
Yeah, it sounds like you're. Yeah,
I've
like
been
you're
a fucking drug addict or something.
Right, the anonymous group.
Yeah.
Alcoholics Anonymous or something.
Sweet.
Well, I remember this exact time that I last drank, and I
Mhm.
always tell people, it was December 22nd of 2005,
Whoa.
and they're like, "Do you sound like you're like a recovering like bad alcoholic or something?" I was like, "No, I just drank a couple times in high school, and that was in
Yeah.
Mexico for my friend's birthday party,
And that was it.
and that was the last time I drank."
Yeah.
But I remember the date. It's easy to remember.
Why did you stop? Or why did you just...
Yeah, so I stopped. I in high school I thought it was fun. I was like, okay, yeah, I could go dance with girls now when I'm drunk. And I didn't want to do that before,
Got it.
And that was the first thing I did. I would freaking drink before going to the dance. And then I got drunk in Mexico, and it was just so disgusting, man. Everybody kept slamming down freaking tequila, or I forgot what we were drinking, but Cuervo. I don't even know what the hell it was.
Yeah.
And it was really, I just felt so sick. I felt like I was on a boat for like 2 days, like just rocking. And like you're like rocking like on a boat, like and all that kind of shit. It was just really weird.
Yeah.
So we were in the airport. I looked at the alcohol and I just wanted to vomit. That was in the airport, and I was like, okay, I'm not drinking for a whole year straight.
Nice.
I made that intention. I did it. I was like 18. Went a whole year straight. I even went to some parties with high school friends. They're like, hey, Bob. They all called me Bob. You want a drink? I was like, no. I'm cool. I'll just chill.
Yeah.
So I didn't drink, and then when I hit a year, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go as long as I can.
Yeah.
I just lost interest.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I learned more, and I was like, okay, now there's no point. Right.
Yeah, alcohol is probably one of the worst fucking drugs. Like, fucks up
It's pretty
your
bad, yeah.
intestines. It
Right.
fucks up, like, yeah.
It literally drains you.
Yeah.
It drains life force out of the body.
That's literally why I had to stop, because
Right.
I just felt drained. Even, like, little drinks here and there would just
Right.
drain me.
Well, a good way to think of alcohol is like, when they make, herbal tinctures and stuff, and they're an alcohol tincture.
Interesting.
A lot of
okay.
times they soak that in alcohol because it pulls the life force out of the plants.
Whoa.
So that's why, when a human's consuming alcohol, it's pulling a lot of life force out of them.
Mm.
That's why when you see some of these drunk people, they look possessed.
Mm.
And they are,
Mm.
technically.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the same person.
Yeah.
Like, it's like something else has possessed that
Yeah.
physical, body that's walking.
I've seen that shit, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
I've seen that
And
shit.
that's part of the system.
Mm.
Straight up. The alcohol.
Well, alcohol is one of the most. Hey, alcohol's okay. Like I drink
Yep.
beer commercials.
Yeah.
The whole nine is the most. You know what? That's been the biggest thing that I've noticed is like social gatherings is like almost mandatory to be built around alcohol.
Right.
Like
Yes.
I can't go out.
Yes.
I literally can't
Yep.
even go out to fucking dinner, just have a fucking meal with my friends without hearing like, oh, what do we get to drink? Oh, let's get this to drink. Alcohol. And then, I've had it. I've been so upset before where like I tell like, yo, I'm not drinking today, or I'm not drinking for a while. I'm not drinking for a month or whatever. Bro, what? Come on, drink for me, man. Drink for me.
Dude,
Like,
yeah.
And I'm
I
like,
know. And now it's take
no?
now it's take a injection for me,
Oh, Jesus! Don't
or wear a
listen,
mask for me.
Oh!
But yeah, so that's exactly right. Like, they have everyone programmed to think that in order for a social gathering to be fun and productive, you have to have alcohol.
Yeah.
And you can't just be sober and normal.
It's funny that I'm the fucking weirdo.
Yeah, and then you're the weirdo. Yeah, it's just crazy. I've been through that millions of times, dude.
Yeah.
I go, come on, you're gonna break your drinking streak, your non-drinking streak this time. It's my wedding, dude, or my party or whatever. I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna break it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to break it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something. I'm not going for a record. I just don't want to poison myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
So I'm not attached to
no wine. You don't like wine?
No, I tried a tiny bit of wine. Wine's okay, but I mean, it's not something I do.
That shit fucks people up.
It does, and a lot of people drink a lot of wine.
Yeah.
And they think that they're being healthy. A lot of girls think, oh, I just have a glass of wine at night. That's nothing.
Antioxidants.
Yeah, okay, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get antioxidants anywhere else. You gotta drink the wine. It's kind of like the people that try to justify drinking coffee all day long.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
I just want it for the antioxidants, and I'm only addicted to the smell of coffee or the flavor.
Get the
like,
fuck outta here with
okay,
that
yeah,
shit.
like, I think you need to read a couple books on caffeine.
Yeah.
Right? And so yeah, I've never done any. I'm just so glad I've never been addicted to coffee or anything, man.
Yeah, me too. I cut that.
So glad.
As soon as I saw everybody in high school like coffee, when Starbucks got popularized, it was when I was in high school, and I was just like, for some reason, something's telling me that everyone's doing it. It's probably not the best.
Well, that's how
thing.
I've always lived.
Yeah. What?
Just I've always wanted to go against what everybody was doing. Right? Once everybody's doing it, you're kind of late to the game. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I should do the other thing. And coffee was just always one of the ones. And pre-workouts, I've never taken pre-workouts.
Yeah.
Took one time.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was going to freaking explode.
I've never taken pre-workout.
Yeah,
so
I took
proud of
one time, dude, with my friend in high
Yeah.
school. And I was like, well, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
I don't know how people take those.
Bro,
And I don't want to know.
I've had a client who would drink, like, no bullshit. She would have like a cup of coffee every hour. She'd try to come into the gym. She would scoop in like 2 things of pre-workout. She's like, I need an extra one a day. And I'd be like, you got to stop taking this caffeine. She's like, oh, I would rather die than stop drinking coffee or this. And I'm like, well, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, if you really, where did I hear that? I forgot where I heard it from, but, I mean, obviously caffeine's been a part of the culture for a long time, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at like Starbucks starting in Seattle,
Yeah.
and that's where Silly Billy's, from Microsoft and Bill Gates and all that stuff, and he has a part in Starbucks starting.
Really?
So ho ho ho, what does that tell you? Caffeine's a part of the game to get everyone addicted to something, and it's a drug. It's got everyone's wired on a drug, and your consciousness isn't as open when you're wired on something.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why that's there. Between that and sugar, that's pretty potent drugs.
Yeah.
That's worse than freaking probably snorting cocaine.
Think so?
Long term. I mean, you keep taking it.
Cocaine's a pretty strong drug.
Cocaine's pretty. That's a pretty dramatic comparison. But
yeah.
I mean, if you gave me a choice to snort coke once or drink caffeine every day, I would snort the coke one time.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't get addicted because my brother did.
Off one?
I think so. Yeah.
No way.
He's like, dude, just one time it was like, oh my god, it was like.
Heaven. You know what? Probably when you're in that much pain.
Yeah, but he also progressed too. He was doing like painkillers and all kinds of shit.
Oh, okay.
And cocaine's the next thing. Eventually he ends at heroin or death, but he didn't make it that far because he got arrested. He actually got kind of lucky.
Is he okay now, or?
He's great. He's studying self-development in jail.
That's awesome.
So
bro.
Good for him. We'll see what he does when he gets out.
You gotta help him out, bro, because when he gets out, it's tough when you're alone. I mean.
Yeah, a lot of the people struggle because they go back to the same environment.
Exactly, bro, and then you get back in the same exact habits.
You go into the same exact thing. If you see the same girl, you're done. You're gonna be back in jail.
Yeah.
I told him that last time it happened.
Oh, was like he went to jail because of the girl, or?
I mean, everyone kind of has a part in everything, but he just, he went back to the same relationship that wasn't working.
Got it.
And they had really unhealthy habits together, of every kind. And eventually, it led back to him going down.
Yeah.
And hopefully he learns this time.
Got it.
It's it's frustrating to see stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you've studied so much stuff, but
yeah.
At the end of the day, you just got to sit back and be like, everyone needs to learn their own lesson.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
So I'm accepting of that. Like same thing with people I know now. Like they're like, oh, I just got the COVID test. I'm like, oh, what have I just been telling you for the past 14 months about the COVID test? But it's like at the end of the day, that's how you're gonna learn.
Yeah.
C'est la vie.
Yeah.
Right? That's life.
Yeah.
So.
All right, bro. We've been talking about for about like an hour 15. Last question for me, I guess. More so, the last question that I want to ask you is: so, do you, we kind of went into your history and growing up and the things you've seen and the attitude you've had for a while. Like, do you think there's hope?
If you would have asked me that, hope for what?
Just for a more truthful future for children, for humanity, for ourselves. Do you think there's hope? Do you believe in hope?
You know, if you would have asked me this before 2020, I would have said no. But when I saw the fake pandemic and all this stuff going down, I was like, yeah, there's fucking hope now for sure. You know, because more people are waking up, and it's just showing everybody how fake and like organized everything is.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about, you know, the pandemic stuff, just everything. It's all coming out now with markets and everything, just money and all these different corporations. And there's definitely hope. It might not be easy, but that's what we need. You know, it's not easy going from, you know, being fat and overweight to being, you know, a musclehead after that. Yeah. Takes some work. You know, it's not easy to detox from drugs or poisons. You know, because you get detox symptoms and all that kind of stuff too. So it might not be easy, but it's going to be what's needed, right? So yeah, I do think there's hope. Actually, I know there's hope. It's not a think. There is hope. It's just a matter of, you know, people going with it.
What do you think is what do you think people can do to make sure that, you know, we prosper as, you know, real, truthful human beings, rather than, you know, the greedy side of, you know, our nature, and destructive and chaotic and ignorant side of our nature? Yeah.
Well, I mean, everything really starts with yourself. So the thing that they could do is grow themselves, you know, figure out what works best for them. And if something's not really working, and take a deep look into it. A lot of people don't really they think something's working for them, and it's not. You know, I thought that for a long time too. When I was doing stupid shit, I thought it was working great, and it wasn't. You know, it wasn't getting me where I wanted to go. So they got to get clear on, you know, what their dream of life is, what they want to do, who they want to associate with, and if something doesn't go along with that, you got to cut it the fuck out. Like there is no one foot in the door. Yeah. You know, it's like you're all the way out the door. Yeah. And that's the only thing that's going to really change, because if you're halfway in, you're still in until you're out fully. Yeah. So that's the big thing. And that's different for everybody. So like to give one thing, you know, it could be with health for somebody. It could be a studying for somebody. It could be a relationship thing. It could be a family thing. Yeah. It could be a money thing. You know, I mean, whatever it is that wakes the person up is great. Yeah. You know, it usually involves a crisis. So if somebody has a crisis, I would say learn from that damn crisis. Yeah. Like accept that crisis and be like, yes, okay, you're here, crisis. What can I do? What is this crisis trying to tell me? What can I do to move on from this?
That's a good question to ask. That's a great question to ask.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm going through a crisis. Right? This is a fucking crisis. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of it was a self-inflicted crisis, and most things are. Yeah. So, you know, once I got past that, and then my hope, and, you know, and then the hope for, you know, humanity and everything else started coming up, I'm like, yeah, okay, well, it's time to rock. Yeah. And so, yeah, there is hope. It's just a matter of, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I'll be real, for some out there is probably no hope. But collectively, yes, there is hope. Yeah. Because ultimately, it's a collective thing. Yeah. You have to bring change and everything like that. So, yeah, I'm down.
Awesome, bro. I mean, I'm glad to hear that you think, you know, there's hope, because, you know, we've had conversations where, like,
some of my conversation could be pretty dark.
Pretty grim.
They could be pretty dark. They could seem like I'm literally going to walk out the door and, like, shoot my brains out or something, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, I remember you were telling me that in the car. You're like, bro, it must suck to live in your world. And I was like, sometimes it does. Yeah. But then again, I'd kind of rather know than live in a fantasy land,
bro.
You know?
Yes.
So it's a tough thing to juggle.
The truth, you know, I think was one of the most enlightening things for me, when I was like, you know what, I want to know the truth. Right. And then it was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. I want to know the truth. You sure? And then it's like, okay, here's the truth. And you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's like when you're a kid and, like, you keep asking if Santa Claus is real, right?
Oh, bro. And then
you're hoping you get the yes answer.
Bro.
You get the no. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, my God.
Yeah. It's like life.
And I like using Santa Claus for all the pandemic stuff, too. Because what the pandemic has shown is that everything that people have had such an emotionally tied belief to is like Santa Claus. And that's why I joke and I say COVID Claus or COVID Christ, and I come up with all these different names like Corona Claus, and because it's the same beliefs, it's the same shit. Yeah. It's just in a different way, you know? Yeah. And it's really hard for them to break through, like being like, oh my God, I really got lied to, and the $100,000 education that I paid for. Like, wow.
Yeah.
How do I accept that?
Yeah.
You know? And some people don't accept it. They'll keep going out of pride. But ultimately, everybody's got to, either wake up or suffer the consequences at some point.
Yeah.
And maybe waking up is suffering the consequence.
Yeah.
It could be and or, right?
Yeah.
You might wake up and suffer the consequence. It's either way.
Yeah.
Well, like waking up for me was a consequence.
Yeah, dude. No, it is, because then you see the fucked up shit, and you're like, oh,
and I'm sure there's some stuff I'm still asleep to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I'm not saying I know everything, because I don't. Probably know nothing. I mean, the more you find out about stuff, the more you know that you actually don't really know.
Yeah.
It
gets more complicated.
It gets much more complicated forever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just got to go with what's the clearest stuff to see.
Yeah.
Right. Some stuff's pretty clear.
Yeah.
And people just like the bullshit and think that it's not.
Yeah. The health one is the easy one.
The health one's an easy one, and and it's the same thing. People have all their excuses.
Yeah.
Why they can never do it.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, you can because you have good genes, or you can because this and that. Oh, I don't have time. I do this. I work full time. I had a kid, or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I work all day in the hospital. It's like, okay, like you can figure something else out. Just work on that. If you work on anything, like, it's gonna fucking improve.
Yeah.
I've figured that out. I used to think it was just gonna improve without working on it and wishing for it, like they told me in The Secret. But then I figured out that didn't work too well.
No, it doesn't.
You kind of have to work towards it and wish at the same time, right? You can still wish and all that, but.
Yep. Well, thank you for the conversation, bro. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of course, man.
I hope it was entertaining enough for people out there.
It was great. It was very different, and I love the different little avenues we took down. So thank you guys so much for listening. Barbero, I always chop your last name, but Caico.
It's Caico, yeah.
Caico?
Yeah, it's the American way to say it.
What you're not on social? Are you on social media?
No, I mean, I just started an Instagram account. The handle name's Captain Informer. I don't really know what to do with it yet. I know it's kind of a cocky name, but
Captain Informer.
I don't think I would post anything that isn't informing someone about something, right?
For sure.
Like, I'm not gonna just post a naked picture, like stupid shit like that for everyone to see. Like, what would be the point of being there?
Yeah.
Or like posting something dumb, like.
For sure, memes.
So
and
like
shit.
the whole point is when I do start posting is to share stuff of value to someone else. Right?
Beautiful. I would love to follow that.
And
I do follow you, so.
Yeah, that's right. And I do, and I'm not really on there yet, but I will get on it at some point. I just don't think I'm the kind of person that would post every day.
Yeah.
So I could be reached there.
Captain Informer.
In a DM.
DM Barbero if you have any questions. If you're someone who's been through the foster care system.
It's on Instagram too.
Or just whoever. It's on Instagram. Captain Informer Barbero Caico.
Yeah, that's my name.
Hey,
that's the name I was given on a piece of paper.
Oh shit! What do you go by something else?
No, I go by Barbero.
Okay, well there you go.
I'm just saying that's the name I was given by a piece of paper.
Yeah.
My dad wrote down on a piece of paper.
And that was it.
So.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you on another podcast. Peace out.
See ya.